let's face it, a lot of Celtics fans are going to focus on one thing about this game, the bench. They only got 4 points. And obviously, Kemba Walker was not available to him. Robert Williams just coming back from injury, a season-long injury. So the Celtics have to figure out, Brad Stevens has to figure out how to get more production than just 4 points. 2 points out of Grant Williams and 2 points out of Brad Wanamaker on Saturday night.
Buyout market, I know you're not crazy about it, Trags, but the only guy I have in mind really is Jordan Crawford. I know he's a veteran. I know he hasn't played in quite some time, but that kind of experience could really help this team out. We're talking about someone that could put up 8 points off the bench. That's a solid 8 points, you know, whether we're talking about 8 points here and there or whether it's one game he has about 12 or 13. I just think that's pretty much the answer in terms of just having that extra muscle off the bench. Outside shooter, someone who's not going to, again, eat up a lot of minutes, not going to take away minutes from someone like Marcus Smart or other guys that have been here for quite some time. I mean, look, it doesn't look like the Celtics are going in that direction, but if they don't go in that direction, you have to just, at this point, think about limiting people's minutes. Kemba Walker obviously is the number one option when we're talking about that. But then you also look at guys off this in the starting five, and you look at the rest of the second unit. I mean, who else can really put up consistent points right now? I just don't see any other way. Whether we're talking relying on the starting five and just again the top heavy lineup that Brad has, he's going to have to continue to clock these guys into upwards towards 30 minutes if you don't look for another solution.
Here's what I think could actually happen, and I think the Celtics have kind of toyed with this before, and they toyed with it a little bit last year, putting Gordon Hayward back on the bench along with somebody like Marcus Smart, and then you have 2 definite scorers coming off the bench, but do you really want to go with 2 bigs? And Brad Stevens is so much about matchups. He didn't even want to play Enes Kanter in this game against the Houston Rockets on Saturday night. Yeah. So what makes you believe that he would do something to juggle up the bench in that way? I mean, maybe I'm just spitballing here, but the Celtics have to find a way, in my estimation, to balance out the scoring in the reserves.
Well, I think if they do go to the buyout market and they try to find a scorer like Jordan Crawford, that's going to it's going to say a lot about Kemba Walker's status. And I don't know. I don't want to think about what happened a couple of years ago with the Isaiah Thomas situation. There was a lot of, people not knowing exactly how bad the injury is. Hopefully that's not the case. But if it is that bad, I say you go out and get another shooter, another scorer. If it's not that bad, then you mend what you already have. And that's a really good, idea. That's one direction you could go, because now you would take away another wing from the starting five. And maybe you put in Semi Ojeleye. I don't know. I'm just trying to see what you would do. But putting Hayward off the bench doesn't mean necessarily he would stay on the bench at the end of the game. So that's not a bad idea.
The other thing, Josue, that I really want to point out is when these guys get their opportunity, they need to be scorers. They need to drive to the basket. They need to be more aggressive offensively. And I think there's a little bit of hesitation among that second unit right now.
Do you think Brad Wanamaker was that guy? I mean,
look, I love Brad Wanamaker, and I think, he has the potential of being that second or third scorer off the bench.
He has the potential, but I just need to see more consistency. And I've loved what I've seen from him as a distributor, as a ball handler. Yes, absolutely. There's a reason why he's, getting those solid minutes and continues to get that. But, I mean, besides him, Semi Ojeleye, his outside touch, what he's able to do, I just think you really start running out of names when we're talking about pure point production.
Well, I think the Celtics are going to have the opportunity, and Brad Stevens is going to have the opportunity coming down the stretch. They are probably going to be locked into the number 2 or 3 seed. They're probably not going to fall as far as 4. So maybe Brad Stevens uses that as an opportunity to find what he has in the final, let's say, 23 games of the regular season. I think that's going to be really critical.
Yeah, absolutely, because let's face it, Carson Edwards is not the guy that we thought he was going to be. At least he's not ready to be that guy yet. He's just not there yet. Grant Williams can give you points here and there, but he's more of there for defensive purposes. Very versatile. He can guard multiple positions. But we're talking about pure offense. I mean, I just think it's a really short list for the Celtics. And if Kemba Walker can come back at full strength and be reliable in terms of his health, obviously we know what he does on the court is reliable, then you're in good shape moving forward. But between now and then, like you said, I don't see them, there's not enough games for them to catch the Milwaukee Bucks, and there's also not enough games for them to fall out of either second or third seed. So you're in a pretty good spot.